Well, hello again. We're speaking once again with Suzanne Muldowney, and we have a special episode tonight, and there are a number of questions from the audience. So, Suzanne, are you ready to answer some of them?
Yes.
So the first question has to do with your dance routines, and people are wondering, how do you come up with the dance routine, and how long does it take you to do choreography?
I search for a theme first, a topic. Then I try to figure out what music would go best with it. I always use music that hasn't already been used for another dramatic work or another theme. I become as well acquainted with the music as I can, and then I think that in order to depict that theme to best advantage, I should do slow dancing, fast dancing. The emotions would differ too. I could be joyful, I could be angry, I could be sad. Sometimes my choreography is affected by the mood which the music sets. Now, as for the choreography, I don't plan every step ahead of time. The idea is to be spontaneously making up as you go along. That was the way Isadora Duncan functioned. She didn't believe in setting down every step ahead of time and doing the steps in the exact same order anytime she did that one number over and over again. I listen to the music. Sometimes I get up and move around a little. Then when I have some time on my hands, I think, am I going to do this in a performance? And then I review the music again and figure what's the best way to interpret it. As far as how long it takes to set the choreography, it can depend on the length of the music or the length of the dance. But like I said, I don't set down every step ahead of time in a certain order.
So when people see you at different times doing the same dance, it will never be the same. So they can see you doing Underdog, it'll never be the same. If they see you do Spectrum, the Ghost Gang, it'll always be different.
Yes. There are a few dances connected with Underdog. One of them isn't even a dance. It's posing to music, pretty much like bodybuilders do. And that too, I don't plan every pose ahead of time.
No, I don't think I ever saw that. How many poses do you have?
I don't think I have any definite number of poses. I can hold one for as long as I want before going on to another one. When the particular music that I use for posing has a couple of cymbal crashes in it, then I take a couple of jumps.
I see, because you mentioned it's like a bodybuilder posing. So does Underdog have some compulsory poses, and then does maybe most muscular and a double bicep?
No, he wouldn't, because because bodybuilders have almost no clothing on. They have to bare their muscles in the strategic body areas, but it would be out of uniform for an unauthentic for Underdog to appear with almost no clothing.
Right. So an underdog wouldn't do a vacuum pose, anything like that.
Right.
Now, how do you feel about bodybuilding, since you mentioned that? And usually pretty modest, you're always covered up, and there's a sport that wears almost nothing. How do you feel about that?
Frankly, they could use more clothing, especially the women.
Well, wouldn't that defeat the purpose? How are you going to show off muscles if you're wearing clothing?
What do you think? What do you think conventional dancers wear all the time in practice? Leotards and tights, or what they call unitards, one-piece suits. They're tight and outline the body.
Well, it's true, but you can't see the muscle definition if you're wearing any kind of clothes.
When I have Underdog do showcase posing, he's not trying to show off his muscles. He's more cultured. He's more cultivated.
So you don't see bodybuilders as a work of art?
I haven't watched it for a long time. I think it's faded as a fad. But when I did watch it, I would be interested only in the musical routines.
Now, when did you watch it? Back in the 70s when it was on television, or?
In the 80s.
In the 80s. And who do you remember? Anyone specifically? Did you have a favorite bodybuilder? Or who was famous back then?
Well, the most famous male bodybuilder was Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I didn't have a favorite. All I was concerned about was what poses they struck and what musics they used.
Okay, so you don't remember anyone specific from 1980s?
No.
Because Arnold retired in 81.
That wasn't my purpose.
No, I understand, but since you mentioned it, I'm asking. So did you ever see Pumpkin? Did you ever see Pumping Iron?
Pumping Iron? Yes, I saw that.
And what do you remember from that?
I remember that the very first shot was of Arnold Schwarzenegger and some female coach, and he was so bulky, and she was so skeletal.
So what kind of impression did that leave?
I didn't want to be bulky. I was interested in how the woman moved.
Right, but you're obviously a dancer wouldn't look like that.
What do you mean? Being only scantily dressed?
No. I mean, dancers would not be bulky because they can move. If they're overly developed and bulky, they would move so gracefully then.
Yeah.
So every sport and activity has a different look and requirements. So.
Yes.
Okay. So do you want to add anything to your musical numbers, or did we cover dancing choreography?
We covered dancing and choreography. With as far as showcase posing goes, the choreography goes the same way. I listen to the music, figure what poses are most advantageous at certain points in the music, and I have to transit gracefully from one pose to the next.
Second question that we have was something to do with your candy making. Like, do you have any specific things that you make? How'd you get into candy make? It's chocolates, right? Do you make chocolates?
Chocolate cream-filled cups.
Is that the only thing you make, or do you have a variety of treats that you make?
No, before I got started in cake decorating, I made cakes while I was growing up, but I didn't get involved in decorating until 1986. As far as the candy cups go, I haven't made them for several years now because my supportive job took a great deal of time, and some of the ingredients that I need to make candy have disappeared from the market.
I see, but I've seen some of your cakes. I know you used to make a Super Bowl cake and the birthday cakes, and so how did you get involved in that?
Well, as I said, I didn't get involved with decorating until 1986. Until then, I simply baked and frosted the cakes and maybe made swirls in the icing. But then there was a monumental occasion in 1986 that made me think I had to get into artistic decorating.
And how did that come about?
The date of September 8th, 1986 was the Blessed Virgin Mary's 2000th birthday. Now, the Pope at that time was John Paul II. He urged all of Christendom to take advantage of the preceding 12 months with things like holy hours, rosaries, quiet devotions, all sorts of homages to the Blessed Mother. But he didn't say anything about how to utilize the 2000th birthday date, September 8th, 1986. So I thought, if only I could make a dessert that would really specialize the event. Let's see, what could I make that symbolizes the Blessed Mother for her 2000th birthday? Of course, a rosary. She's so identified with the rosary. And the rosary wouldn't be just one cake. It would be a whole bunch of little cakes arranged in the format of a rosary.
Okay, so your first cake was the rosary cake, the decorated one.
The first. Well, all my rosary cakes were decorated. The first ones I made were in 1986.
I see, and then since then you've made. I've seen your Super Bowl cake, and you still make one every year.
No.
Oh no, you didn't. But you used to make them.
That's because as long as this singles group that I was in held a Super Bowl party on the date of the Super Bowl, I would make a cake customized to the identities and colors of the teams involved.
Yeah, I saw a few of them. So what happened to the group? Did they all get married or just disbanded?
No. We disbanded because many of the members were getting older. We were not taking in a lot of new members, and we simply disbanded because we were getting too old.
I see. So what do you make now? Just birthday cakes?
I haven't had a request to make a special occasion cake in a really long time.
Okay, because I saw you once, I think it was an anniversary of some sort at the checkerboard. Maybe it was your birthday, and you brought the big cake with you, and it was filmed by Phil and the Checkerboard Kids.
Well, I never made a Checkerboard Kids cake. I mean, I never made a cake frosted to look like a checkerboard. There was one time that Checkerboard Kids made an episode on the day that I turned 50.
That's what it was. Yeah, I was there. I remember that one. That was a big yellow cake.
It was angel food cake. Maybe I tinted it yellow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I also made the icing in yellow because yellow's my favorite color, and the symbol of a 50th birthday or anniversary is gold.
Yeah. So I remember that one. I saw that. Are you just naturally talented at it, or did you have to take lessons?
I took a series of 5 classes in the spring of 1986, sometimes I practiced at home looking at books, but most of the time I thought about it ahead of time. How would I decorate it, and then imagine how to decorate it, and then do it accordingly.
Right. So you kind of use the same philosophy with your costumes as well, right?
Yes. Well, sometimes the costumes have to be authenticated if they're based on bygone eras dressing. You know, if you're impersonating a historical character, or if you're impersonating any established character, then you have to duplicate his or her costume as best you can.
Because you like to be accurate.
Authentic would be a better word.
Yes.
That's how Radu Florescu termed it.
Right, because your Dracula costume was very authentic.
Well, there were 4 of them, but yes, he said in the documentary that I did an authentic presentation.
Yes. Now, how many? Do you know the total number of costumes that you have?
How many does he have?
No. Yeah, because there's a question from the audience. I forget who asked it, but it said, how many costumes do you have?
I have several dozen.
Okay. And any close number? You don't have to be exact.
Maybe about 30.
Okay, that's a pretty big number.
I haven't made that many lately because I'm trying to get more use out of the costumes I already have. Now, I have thought of a new character and the costume she would wear. I'm trying to get started on it now, but it'll be a while before she's ready.
Do you want to share with us what that is, or are you going to wait till it's ready?
I want to wait until she's just about ready.
Okay, so we'll have a big reveal for the new costume.
What?
We're going to have a big reveal of a new costume.
Probably when the day comes for me to premiere the new costume, you should come to the event in which I do it.
Okay, that sounds good. I think slowly things are opening up, so now we can probably show up and film stuff without any problems. All right, so there's another question from the audience. Jork Richards, that's his internet name. I don't know what his real name is, but
Richard? You mean from Beyond Vaudeville?
No. It's Richards is the last name.
Oh.
But it says the first name is Jork, but I don't know if that's obviously not real, or maybe it is. But anyway.
Maybe it's just a nickname.
Yeah, probably online presence. But the question is, please ask Suzanne, how does she feel about Donald Trump?
Well, what does that have to do with with performing arts?
Well, probably absolutely nothing. It's a question from the audience. So since you had please ask her, I'm asking.
I really don't think much about him because many people are discontent with him, and this year's a presidential election. I'd say the only thing good he did for me and a lot of other people was to produce EIPs, which were several $100s directly deposited into people's checking accounts.
No, what's the EIP stand for?
Economic impact. I think the last word is payment. I'm not sure. It begins with the P as in Peter.
Okay, that's because of the lockdown or something else?
The virus scare.
Okay, right, because of the virus. Okay, so you don't want to. That's your opinion about the president. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you vote every year, right? You're pretty active.
voted ever since I became old enough.
Yeah, I know you were pretty meticulous about making sure you voted. So now we have a big question, which it's probably going to take a little longer to answer because quite a few people are wondering, how did you connect with Howard Stern? What's the connection? So I'm going to let you just explain how that thing happened, and so people can hear it from you. Yeah, that's all.
Oh boy. It was in January of 1992 that I first appeared on it. Now, Howard Stern was a total stranger to me. I had never heard of him. And I did not contact his show first. It was the other way around. They made the first move. They told me how active he was on radio. Well, okay, that was another big reason I had never heard of him, because when I listen to radio, it's just to classical music.
Okay, but how did they find you?
He saw some of my old Beyond Vaudeville programs.
Okay, well, that's what I thought, but I just wanted to make sure that you say that so people know that.
No, he didn't. He didn't witness a performance. He came across, a paper program.
Right. So continue. I'm sure you have a lot more to share.
Well, he learned about me from Beyond Vaudeville, but he didn't call me directly. Someone on his staff did, and I explained how I had never heard of him. I never listened to his kind of radio program. They said he was on a TV show late at night. Well, I had never heard of that before. They wanted me to be on it, and I asked, what did they want me to do? They said Howard wanted me to appear as Underdog, but why? Why Underdog? I have never been able to figure out why he chose that character. Now, I also made sure to ask this woman, what kind of host is he? And the woman said that he was comic. Well, now wait a minute. I'm very dead serious about my art. I don't want to be cheapened by a comic host.
And what did it tell you?
They said they would speak with him about it, but unfortunately, they rushed me into making the episode. They first contacted me on a Monday, and they said that I had to audition the Wednesday of that same week, just 2 days later. I asked them over and over again, look, this is too hurried. You're rushing me. I don't want to do it that fast. I need time to think this over. But they denied my request. They said they were booked way ahead, and that this week was the only opening they had.
Okay, so how did that appearance go?
Well, so I passed the audition, but although it was Stern's show, he was not around, so that I could discuss matters with him to make sure he didn't make fun of me or make a fool out of me. He was nowhere to be found. And the producer who watched my audition said that I had to make my premiere that same Friday. And so as it turned out, the show on Friday was very vulgar because that's the kind of person Howard was. When I got to the studio on that Friday, I tried asking some other people who were there what kind of man was he, and only one of them gave me a very vague answer. Oh, he's unpredictable. You never know what he's going to do. Now that made me more afraid than ever. And Howard Stern treated me like dirt. Now, I didn't know until it was too late that this was the essence of Howard Stern's venues. Also because his minions first contacted me on a Monday, made me audition on Wednesday, and premiere on Friday, I was unable to watch an episode at home the normal way until the day after by taping, a Saturday. And when I saw the vulgar things he was doing in that episode, I thought, oh my gosh, what have I done? Those people didn't tell me all the facts. They didn't tell me that it was Howard Stern's norm to make obscene jokes of virtually anything respectable, usually by borrowing or stealing an existing topic and then profaning it to an R or X rating.
Okay, well, if it was a regular television, it couldn't be X-rated.
We'll see. When I watched that first episode, that first Saturday night after my debut, it had that warning at the beginning of the broadcast. There's adult content. Viewer discretion advised. Oh no!
Yeah, but don't you get the same warning at Shark Week?
What's Shark Week?
I think it's a Discovery Channel when they show you sharks eating all the different animals.
I don't watch it.
Okay, and then what happened after that? Didn't you put something together? You told me that you wrote like a manifesto or something.
Yes, some of my words were quotes from this expose is a better expression.
Okay, so do you want to tell us what's in there, or do you describe what it is?
Well, its title might be clear enough. Howard Stern, the true shocking story.
Now, is this a pamphlet or multiple pages, or what is it exactly?
It's an 8-page booklet.
And how can we find that?
Well, Phil helped me put it together. You can, it's available online, or I don't know if it's available any other way on the internet. What channel it is.
Okay, so you don't know how people in the audience can look it up?
I think it's something like Muldowneyville / Stern / shocking point HTM. I'm not totally sure because I wasn't asked that question for quite some time. It's an 8-page booklet describing with questions people have asked and how I was degraded by him and suffered many indignities.
Okay, so what's the name of it again? Maybe I can look it up.
Howard Stern, The True Shocking Story.
Okay, do you tell us what's in there? Yeah.
I've been saying.
Oh, okay. So you don't want to add anything else?
Well, one thing that happened as a result, my episode didn't premiere until 2 weeks after I'd made it. But once it had premiered, my family complained that they were getting strange phone calls from strange men who were trying to get in touch with me. My own home phone has always been unlisted, but so they looked up other modalities that they found in the phone book, and when they got my family's number, my father complained that these mysterious men callers stuttered or fumbled or were surprised at hearing a man answer, and they, I don't know what they said. My father never told me accurately, and well, how do I know that these men actually made these calls? Because I wasn't at home when they came through. I never answered any myself. I was getting information secondhand.
And your parents were upset that people were calling the house and making obscene phone calls?
Yes.
Okay, and then obviously you were upset because of that.
I was very upset because of that, because Howard and his minions spoiled not only my good name but also Underdog's good name.
Right, and that's the episode that you got a nickname that you don't like?
Howard Stern invented the terms Underdog Lady and Underdog Woman. Well, Underdog himself was never called by any nicknames, just his proper name, his copyrighted name. So that's why I say anybody who calls me Underdog Lady or Underdog Woman gives himself away as having learned the expression from Howard Stern and Company.
Yeah, but at this point, it's been that since 1993, right? So I'm sure there's many...
92.
Oh, 92, okay. Since 92, this story probably kept going from person to person, so some people know you as that, not realizing that you don't like it, but it just became something that people associate.
I still have to... I still have to set people straight, even today.
Yeah, I understand, but it became something that the name that everybody knows you by.
Well, that's why I don't like it, because it was invented by a very vulgar man.
But sometimes we end up with nicknames, and there's nothing you can do about it. They kind of stick. But it gave you a lot of publicity then.
It was all vulgar, negative publicity.
But would you rather not be known at all?
I had been dancing Underdog for years before Howard Stern and Company discovered me, and I had done other themes besides Underdog, for which I gained some renown.
Yeah, in a limited capacity, but that appearance on the Stern show gave you so much bigger audience. So there's good and bad with it. That's what I'm trying to say.
I didn't want. I was ashamed because he was such a vulgar man.
Nothing to do with you.
What about ruining someone's good name and reputation?
I guess I can see your point in some respect. I would just embrace it. I mean, it is what it is. You did it.
I strongly urge as many people as possible to obtain the booklet, which is the expose on Howard Stern. There they find out how I was attracted, entrapped, tricked into appearing more than once, and the indignities I suffered as a result.
Okay, I found it, so I'm going to put a link in an audio podcast page as well as the YouTube page, so people can look it up. And
Downeyville.
Right, that's and it says it was originally called Veritas Splendor Underdog. Right?
Well, that was Phil's idea for the title, but he was dead wrong.
He was wrong.
It wasn't primarily about Underdog. It was about Howard Stern.
Yeah, okay.
So my title, Howard Stern, The True Shocking Story, is much more accurate.
There's some names or questions that you asked, like does Underdog bark like a dog? Does he belch and that kind of stuff?
Those were questions that Howard and assistants asked me in order to vulgarize him and me both. I put down some questions that there were essentially what individuals or sometimes small groups asked me, and I also put statements in all caps that are very important to remember.
Yeah, I see it. So it's pretty lengthy, right? You said 8 pages. You said it's about 8 pages, but this is all one long article online, so people can go and see it and read it.
Yes.
So we'll put a link so they can go to the original, because you have a lot of stuff in there about what people usually tell you in the street and what upsets you, that kind of stuff.
Yes. See, one of the questions there is, why didn't you talk things over? I tried very hard to learn about the show before doing anything, but the staff was uncooperative or evasive. In arranging for the first time, I was unable to talk directly to Stern. Though it was his show, he was never reachable. Afterward, either upon completion of a taping or back at home, only the staff, not Howard Stern, were available for talking, especially when I had to complain of ill after effects. Especially within the studio himself, I was unable to discuss matters with him because, 1, he would slip away. 2, it may have been another guest's turn. 3, the directors would make me go somewhere else. I could speak directly to him only when on the air. He always took advantage of me.
Okay, so like we said earlier, we'll put a link and people can actually read your account and get the true story, detail by detail, how you felt about it.
The true shocking story.
Right. Okay. So do you want to add anything that's not in that story, or is this enough for an answer?
Phil had me put it together only a year after I had been on Stern, when it was not yet Underdog's 30th anniversary. So chronological experiences go only as far as, well, the end of 1993, but hopefully the contents are clear enough to people, for the average reader or computer user to understand what still pertains even in the present.
Well, sounds good. I think your account is detailed enough that people interested in learning more, they can read it. And do you want to add anything else, or can we wrap it up?
Well, when you say wrap something up, are we talking about wrapping up Stern or another topic? We've had those questions about dances, music, choreography, and costumes. We've talked about candies and cakes. Now, did people send in questions about any other topics?
I don't have any more at the moment, but I'm sure in a few more weeks we'll probably have to do another episode, because they come in with, here and there, so I'll collect them. I think you answered the latest bunch, and anything new that comes up, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Suzanne. Well, thank you very much for another conversation, and enjoy the rest of the evening. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Boris. Thanks so much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.